Today is the first video in a new series that will be airing weekly called Bird's Nest. In this new series, we will help untangle the questions our viewers have about fishing by answering 5 viewer-submitted questions. The sport of fishing can be very intimidating for a novice angler and someone looking to take up the sport. Our goal at Black Widow is to share our passion for fishing and help break down the barriers that may exist for anglers looking to get into tournament fishing. Welcome back to Black Widow Fishing. I'm Bryce. If you're new here, we cover all things fishing, from products and services that can improve your skills or your enjoyment of the sport to current news coming out of the fishing industry. If this sounds like something that is interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button, as it really helps out our channel. Let's jump right into our first viewer question. Our first question comes from a viewer wishing to remain anonymous. They ask, is cast netting legal in California? So right off the bat, that is an excellent question. California remains one of the states that has many convoluted gaming regulations, and it can often be hard to sift through the Department of Fish and Wildlife's website to find an answer you're looking for. California doesn't refer to a cast net as such, but rather has 2 specific definitions of nets within the regulations. In 28.80, the regulation refers to dip nets of any size and baited hoop nets smaller than 36 inches. In Regulation 28.85, beach nets less than 20 feet with mesh holes of at least 7/8 of an inch are referenced. All of these types of nets are legal for species listed within the regulation when north of Point Conception. For all of my Northern Cali people, Point Conception is just southwest of the Vandenberg-Lompoc area. Using nets to catch any fish in the location south of Point Conception or in any inland waters is against regulations. There will be a link in the description to the regulation below. Our next question comes from Sam, who asks, can I throw a half-ounce lure on a normal bass fishing spinning setup? Wow. Where to begin with this one? This is really a tough question to give a straight answer to. So we're gonna kind of need to provide some parameters. Let's start off with the rod first. Bass fishing is one of those sports where there truly aren't any things you can do right or wrong, with a few exceptions. There is no real standard for what a normal spinning setup would be. Some only fish spinning rods, while others may use only bait casters or a combination of both. Someone using both bait casting and spinning might only use the spinning for finesse fishing or very light applications. On the flip side, someone using only spinning would typically need to cover as many different techniques with a spinning rod. However, I believe most anglers would consider any spinning setup between 6'6" and 7 foot medium heavy to be right around normal. There are also many types of lures that fall within that half-ounce range. I have a Monster Bass Slick Stick 99 jerkbait here. This happens to be a half-ounce. While you could technically use a rod within our definition above, I wouldn't personally do so. But the easiest way to come to your own conclusion is to read the rod. The rod will tell you what line and what lure size the manufacturer recommends, so you can make an informed decision to stick to the parameters or try experimenting. This can be often found on the lower part of the blank. In this rod in particular, it's located, in this particular case, it's located right here. This rod happens to say it's a 7 foot medium heavy and uses 10 to 17 pound line. Another anonymous viewer writes, what are some tips for fishing from a sit-on-top kayak? This is a good question that I think could easily be worth its own video, but I will share 3 tips that I think can really be beneficial. My first tip for fishing from a sit-on-top kayak is to make sure that you are comfortable in your chair. There are a number of kayaks that have what I would call subpar chairs, especially considering the premium price you pay for these kayaks. I use a Hobie PA14 360 and have that awesome vantage seat that Hobie makes. But even though my seat is extremely comfortable, I still use a kayak cushion religiously for the seat and the backrest. I think anyone starting in a kayak really needs to make sure the seat is comfortable, especially because I don't recommend standing until you have become familiar with your kayak, which leads right into my next tip. Tip number 2 is knowing your kayak's capabilities. Some yaks have great primary stability and other yaks have great secondary stability. However, it is all influenced by the angler and their body makeup as well. I am a smaller person, so I can run laps inside my kayak or pull a Christine Fisher and stand on my front hatch and be totally comfortable knowing my kayak isn't going to flip. But overall, I believe anyone and everyone should get comfortable with their yak and learn what they can and can't get away with, and learn the stability points, and overall just be a master of their craft. My final tip, but ultimately the most important tip, is also the simplest. Wear your PFD at all times. I have been kayak fishing for a number of years, and if you've been fishing even just in general, for any amount of time, we hear multiple times every season of anglers losing their lives due to not wearing a PFD. At the end of the day, this is just fishing and it's not worth your life, no matter how much money is on the line. Everything on your kayak is replaceable except for you. Our next question is from Steve Naninga, who asked, what is the best lure for catching largemouth bass? As with most things fishing, it really depends on the circumstances, the weather, water clarity, the type of body of water you're fishing, the season, and many other things play a factor into what the best lure is. But I feel pretty confident saying that universally the best all-around lure that is generally good year-round and in any location is a Senko or other similar worm. The Senko is just so versatile, it can be fished in a Texas rig, a Carolina rig, a Tokyo rig. You can even fish it weightless, wacky, as a trailer sometimes. Plain and simple, it just puts fish in the boat in almost any condition. Our final question is from Jason Smith, who asked, what is the best color crankbait for springtime bass? Questions surrounding colors are always ones that get asked. I find it amazing how we as humans have figured out how to tell fish can even see colors, but I'm also a firm believer that the color of the lure ultimately is for the angler and not for the fish. I think any lure presented perfectly in the right location at the right time will catch fish regardless of its color. But to get us back on track, I believe the most widely used color of crankbait in the springtime is red of some sort. I absolutely love crankbaits. By far is my favorite type of fishing. In the springtime, my go-to crankbait is the Livingston Lure Dive Master 14 in the spring craw pattern. I encourage anyone with a question that would like to have it answered in a future video to either submit it in the comments below or connect with us through any of our social media accounts or email, all of which can be found in the description below. I will leave links to everything mentioned or shown in the video in the description in case you want to pick up any of the gear we talked about today. If you enjoyed the episode of Bird's Nest, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We're currently sitting at 13 subscribers and need another 87 subs before we give away a free Monster Bass box. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.